Hello, I'm Mayor Michael P. Londeau. Per our city charter, the Westland City Council meets twice a month at City Hall to conduct the regular business of the city. Agenda items are discussed and the council votes to approve, deny, or postpone each individual item. The purpose of this program is to go into a little more detail on some select items that were brought up at the meeting. So on this edition of After the Gavel, I'll be going over a few things from the August 7th City Council meeting. Typically, the City Council meeting the night before an election has a fairly light agenda. This allows the city clerk to have a shorter evening prior to our very long election day, where he and his team will be working late into the night tabulating results. The council members have already talked with myself or members of my administration with any questions about agenda items to streamline the process and keep the meeting brief. But here, I can go into more details that the public didn't necessarily get to hear during the meeting. The first item was the approval of a bid extension. Back in July of 2022, we went out to bid for demolition services to remove blighted buildings. The low bidder at the time was McMillan Group, and they were awarded the one-year contract. We had an excellent working relationship with this company, and they did a great job. When we approached them about extending the contract, they agreed to honor their 2022 prices through 2024. The City Council, along with the administration, thought that this was a great deal and jumped at the chance to extend the contract and lock in those prices. This contract is being paid for with funds from the Community Development Block Grant Program. Next, we had a request to approve a bid to replace our current phone system. This is a much more complicated than just going to Best Buy and picking up a couple new desk phones. Our IT department conducted a lot of research and asked for bids, which resulted in 19 responses. The new proposed system will have more features to provide better efficiency for our employees, but more importantly, we will be able to better serve residents. The new system will be cloud-based, which will allow us to keep our lines of communication open in the event of an emergency. After reviewing all of the bid packets, IT Director Craig Brown recommended Competitive Network Management be awarded the contract, and the City Council agreed. Continuing with the consent calendar, the fire department was asking to use McQueen Equipment as the provider for breathing apparatus and equipment for the next 3 years. McQueen is the only authorized distributor and repair facility in Southeast Michigan for this specialized gear. What we're talking about here is the self-contained breathing apparatus. These are the tanks and masks that Westland's bravest wear to allow them to enter building fires and still be able to breathe. Previously, we have done business with Apollo Fire Equipment, who were bought by McQueen. Because of that arrangement, everything will be seamless, which is very important when we're dealing with life-saving equipment. Moving on, we had a request from our very busy Parks and Recreation Director, Kyle Mulligan. This was a request to approve an agreement with Wayne County to use some park millage funding. This agreement will start the process to get reimbursed over $47,000 that we spent in making improvements to Voss Park, that including adding a new pavilion. This open-air pavilion was created to be completely ADA compliant to make sure that it was accessible to all of our residents who use the park at 30600 Palmer Road. Thanks to the approval of the next couple of items, there will be 7 new vehicles added to our city fleet. 6 of these will be Ford F-250s that will be replacing vehicles in the Water and Sewer Department. This expenditure was approved in the previous 2 budgets, but we couldn't take delivery because of shortages in the industry. We are excited to add these vehicles to replace older ones that have seen a lot of usage and wear and tear over the years. These trucks will also be used during snow events in the winter months. The other vehicle will be assigned to the Special Investigation Unit for the Police Department. The SIU team works undercover, so the vehicle needs to be swapped out periodically so it's not recognized as law enforcement. For this reason, we are not disclosing the make or model of the vehicle to be purchased. We can tell you that the vehicle will be purchased from a local dealer and will be paid for using money from the Drug Forfeiture Fund. The last item on the consent calendar is good news for a lot of Westland kids. With the addition of the mission to Mars, we found ourselves with a big play structure that still has years of life left in it. The City Council was being asked to approve $65,000 to relocate and assemble the popular play planet from Tatton Park to Lincoln Johnson Field in the historic Norwayne district. Game Time is the company that will be doing the work. They've done several projects in the city of Westland and have continued to meet and exceed our expectations. The reassembly project will be happening this fall. After that, we moved on to new business with a little bit of a history lesson. We're talking about what is commonly referred to as the National Airport site. It's the nearly 27 acres of vacant land south of Ford Road at the end of Superior Drive. Prior to 1949, there was a piece of land that was used as a private airport. This continued through Nankin Township days and into Westland until about 1980. At times throughout those years, the area was also used as a municipal landfill. Since that time, there has been significant remediation on the site that was paid for by Ford and 3M. The Michigan Department of Great Lakes and Energy are satisfied with the cleanup and are now asking for this restrictive covenant. Once approved and signed, that document will ensure that the only use of the property will be for recreational purposes. No residential or commercial developments can occur on these 26.9 acres of land. The last item on this agenda had to do with our curbside recycling program. The current contract for processing our single-stream recyclables is expiring, so we sent out a request for proposals and we received 2 bids. To be clear, this is just for the processing of our materials, not the collection at the curb. Priority Waste was the low bidder and submitted rates for 3 years. The other bidder, Republic Services, was higher in cost and did not specify rates for a 3rd year of the agreement. The new contract with Priority will be in effect through June 30th, 2026. Again, this will have no effect on the curbside pickup of trash, recycling, and compost materials that we currently have with Priority Waste. As I said, it was a fairly short agenda, as it usually is the night before an election. We do that because the city clerk and his team of election workers start their day around 4 a.m. and they work a nearly 20-hour day. I want to thank the city clerk's department and all of those people who helped out with the election process. Out of respect for the clerk, I kept my comments at the end of the meeting fairly brief. I did take the time to thank our DPS crews for their work following our most recent storm and reiterated that we are all frustrated with DTE, and I am actively pursuing a solution to the repeated and extended power outages. Something I did not mention was our new Code Red emergency alert system. This is replacing the old Nixle system. By signing up for Code Red, you will receive timely notifications about emergencies that affect you and your community. You can get more information by going to our website or by texting Westland Alerts to 24639. The biggest news from my comments was the announcement that Westland received word that we were awarded a $26 million grant from the state of Michigan to boost our Municipal Employees Retirement System, or MERS. We will receive these funds by the end of this month, and they will go directly into the MERS program. This grant provides millions in savings that can now be used to further enhance our community. If you have any questions or concerns about these items or anything else in the city, you can always call my office at 734-467-3200. You can also send an email to mayor@cityofwestland.com. Thanks for joining me on this episode of After the Gavel. I'll be back again after the next City Council meeting, which is scheduled for Monday, August 21st at 7 p.m. You can visit our website to see a copy of the agenda and the support materials as soon as they are prepared. We'll see you then.